Peepaw, Peepaw, welcome to Peepaw's house.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Peepaw's house. Last time you was here, you heard the story about Aquaman. He's cool. Likes to swim around in the water, beat up the bad guys. He's an awesome feller. Now this week, I got another story for you. It's about this feller. He can't die unless you chop off his head. That sounds kind of weird, but it's true. His name is the Highlander, and he lived a long time ago, and he's still living because he's a Highlander, and the Highlander lives forever, unless you chop off his head. Now, I tell you what, you bust up in a Pawpaw's house, I'm going to chop off your head, unless I know you. And even if I do know you, sometimes you ain't safe. But it's okay. Peepaw took some of his medicine this morning. Just made some corn mash. Delicious. Highly recommend it on a cold winter/spring day. So let me tell you about this feller. See, back in the mid-'80s, this feller, he made this documentary. It's called The Highlander. It was a documentary because this dude's real. He's for reals. He lived a long time ago, back 1500s. They didn't have cameras back in those days. So in the 80s, this guy had to make up some stuff. So basically what he did, he got this French feller to play a Scottish dude. And then later on in the story, they get this Scottish dude to play a Spanish dude. And you know, of course, because that works. Must have been budget. They figured they could get that French dude on the cheap. And then the Scottish dude's like, I don't want to be no Scottish dude. I want to play somebody else. And they said, all right, well, you know, you're Scottish. You know, you kind of fit. You know, we can get a Spanish dude to do it. And he said, no, I won't do it. And I said, all right, you can do it. So anyway, it starts off here with this feller named Connor McLeod. He's this young feller. He don't know what's going on. You know, he's just, you know, he's chasing pussy and, you know, just having a good time drinking with his buddies. And, you know, they're always fighting with these other people. And these other people, bunch of jerks. They must be because, you know, our dude is the hero of the story. So his people must be all right. And these other fools must be just a bunch of assholes. So what happens is, he's up in there in this battle. Ain't nobody wants to fight him. He's like, come on, fight me. Come on. I'll put my damn foot up your ass. And they're like, no. We don't want none of that. We don't want none of that. And he's like, well, all right. Well, I'll still kill you. You ain't going to kill me. I'm going to kill you. You know, that's the way we going to do it. But then all of a sudden, this big-ass feller comes around. He's the Kurgan. He's this big, giant fool. He comes up off there on his horse. You know, with thunderbolts and lightning and all this kind of crap's going on. And old Connor McLeod's like, what the hell's this guy doing? I bet he won't fight. And sure enough, that big fella said, yeah, I'm gonna kick your damn ass. And Connor said, all right, we'll see. So Connor's about to whoop his ass, and then all of a sudden, this big fella brings out this sword. It's about 9-10 feet long, stick it right in his belly. And Connor's like, well, shit. I guess that's it for me. Later on, he's laying up in the bed, you know, he's got all these bandages on him, and the woman's crying, and all his buddies around him just like, man, why? That's his friend. That's also his kinfolk, too. But just like anybody else's kinfolk, sometimes they're going to turn on you, and you'll see that in a second. So he's laying up in the bed. This woman's crying, and this old dude comes up and says, get out here, bitch, man. You won't hear no woman crying up in here. He wants to go out like in a blaze of glory, man. You know, 6-pack in his hand, you know, watch some NASCAR, you know, watch Junior go around the track. But he don't die. They're like, well, what the hell's up with this shit? So he comes up in there, and the next day, he's up in there, people drinking and stuff. They're all like, man, what the hell's going on here? This dude didn't die. That dude got about a 9-10 foot sword stuck up in his belly, and he still ain't dead. There's demons. Demons, I tell you. But he's like, man, ain't no demons. It's just, you know, I don't know what happened. Shit, it's just shit. Ain't you glad I'm alive? Ain't that a good thing? And they're like, well, I don't know about that. And he's like, well, fuck you too, man. I wish you would have died, then you're going to be like that. And they're like, no, we ain't wish you gonna die, but, you know, the way you living, I don't think it's right, man. You know, might be some demons going up in there. So he's like, well, fuck all y'all. And then they said, well, fuck you too. And so they go to whooping his ass, man. They put him on this big yoke thing looking, and he's walking around there whooping his ass. And, you know, and then his buddy Angus comes up to him and says, hey, dude, these people gonna whoop your damn ass, and they ain't gonna stop. You might as well get the hell out of here. He said, all right, I ain't gonna forget you. And he's like, yeah, get the fuck out of here. So he takes off, and then somehow later on, he finds this real cute chick. She's pretty nice, too. Cleans the dishes for him, washes his clothes, give him a little nookie every once in a while, and, he's all about that. Then all of a sudden, this fucker shows up in his horse, and he's like, oh, shit, it's that dude again. But no, it's this guy all dressed up in a hat, got a feather on, looks like a pimp. And he comes along, and he says, hey, Highlander. He says, hey, Highlander, I'm Juan Sanchez Ramirez Villalobos. I'm at your service. And Highlander's thinking, what, you're Spanish, but you sound like Sean Connery. And that dude, we know he's Scottish. He said, all right, whatever. Because Sean Connery's going, well, you're Scottish, but you sound like some frog that jumped out the pond over there in France. He's like, all right, touche, because he's French. So he said, man, I got to train you up, because, man, that fucker stuck that stick up in you, man. He's going to chop your head off. He said, well, let some bitch come on. I'll whoop his damn ass. I said, nah, you ain't going to whoop his damn ass now, but you will after I train you. And Highlander said, all right. So they get to training and stuff. Then they become buddies. They're old pals. This French dude and this Scottish dude, who's really a Scottish dude, and a Spanish dude. Suspend your disbelief. So finally later on, they said, well, you got to go up there to this big city, because that's where everybody's heading. And he said, all right. So his buddy gets killed because old big dude comes along with the lightning bolts, cuts his head off, messes with his woman. He don't know. So he's living with this old lady for about 100 years. And she's like, you got to go on. He's like, no, baby. He said, I wish I was like you. And she said, no. She said, I wish I could give you some babies. And he's like, yeah, that's all right, but you're cool. I made you some boots. That's gonna make up for it. So long story short, he ends up back in New York City, in this big city. So he's in this big city. All his buddies show up. There's this dude, that black feller. They like to drink. They talk about drinking and stuff. And there's the other dude. He meets him in a parking lot, and that's not really his buddy because the dude's trying to kill him. He gets killed. The dude in the parking lot, the drinking buddy, gets killed, and it's just pretty much left him and that big giant feller with the big sword. Only this time he done shaved his head. He don't nobody. He looked like that dude from Midnight Oil. They up in the church, and that old big dude Kerrigan, he's all blaspheming and making fun of the nuns and stuff. And then he tells them what they did to his old lady, and oh boy, that's when Hunter's like, yeah, you done stepped in some shit now, mister. And Kerrigan said, all right, we'll see. But he said, we can't do it here. This is holy ground, Highlander. Remember what Ramirez taught you. He still wanted to whoop his ass. I don't blame him. This whole time, Highlander done mess with this girl to work for the police, and they're all friendly and shit, and he's like, yeah, I don't know, man, He said, I don't know if you want to stick around with me or not. He said, I can't die. I'm 400 years old. She's like, yeah, right, I've heard that before. So then he sticks himself in the belly with a knife, and he doesn't die. She's like, oh, shit, well, we got to get to the fucking. So they do. They have them some sex after that. But then that old big dude comes along and says, hey, I'm going to take this girl away from you. And Highlander's like, oh, hell no, you ain't. But he does. He takes her up top of this building. And he said, come on. You want to get her? You come on. We're going to finish this. And Highlander says, yeah, all right. We'll do this. So he gets up there and they get to fighting. And she's all wailing and screaming, just like, help me, help me. Highlander / Connor. And he's all trying to do his business, and then there's water everywhere. I don't know where how the damn water tower burst. And then there's lightning bolts because it's old dude. And old dude's all about them lightning bolts. And they crash through the roof. And then they're fighting again. And finally, old Highlander says, I done had enough of this shit. And then he goes into the locker room, changes into Super Globetrotters. And then he gets all Billy Badass. And then cuts off dude's head, and then all the shit starts coming out of him, like this fountain of light comes out of his neck. And then there's all these cartoon ghosts and shit rolling around, and he's all like, he's all going, like he done got him a happy ending over there at that Thai massage parlor. And so he's like, I'm everything, I'm all this, he starts getting a big head, but his big catchphrase.
There can be only one.
Just like Peepaw, there can be only one. So you think that's the end of the story, right? You know, he gets the prize. And the prize is all this knowledge and stuff, and he learns all about the world, and he says he can help people and all that, and he can be mortal, he can grow old, he can die, and he can have babies with the old lady, you know, happy ending. But no, you think that'd be it, but no. And these other documentaries I like to talk about, in these other documentaries to follow, apparently there's another planet full of these fools, and then he makes this big shield, and then Sonny Spoon shows up, and then there's like a cousin, and it's like when they added that little kid on the Brady Bunch. When they had that kid on the Brady Bunch, that was it. You know, it done fucked up the whole show. But anyway, that's the story of the Highlander. I hope you enjoyed it. There can be only one.
Peepaw, Peepaw, welcome to Peepaw's house.